What's up, everyone? I am Tim Oates on bass, and today I'm going to review the new album from The Pretty Reckless. Now, this album was not on my radar for quite a while. I knew The Pretty Reckless. I would hear some of their songs, like them, but just never was a band that I was tracking down and wanting to hear the latest from. But music marketing does work. Let me explain. So they put out their lead track quite a while ago, Death by Rock and Roll. Had heard it. It's good, didn't think much more of it. Started hearing a little bit more buzz about the new album coming out. Eventually, just hearing it enough, I was like, well, let me go take a look. Had heard some buzz about some cool collabs and things like that. And yeah, there's actually some cool collabs. Tom Morello, Kim Thayil, and Matt Cameron from Soundgarden. Like, okay, those might be kind of interesting to check out. And then they released 25. When that happened, I was like, okay, you have my attention. You absolutely have my attention with 25. Then they released the song with Tom Morello, and it got to a point where the music marketing worked. Taylor Momsen was doing an amazing job of, putting stuff out on Instagram with the band and really, pushing the new album, and I want to hear it. So since it just came out and I want to hear it, I'm going to share my thoughts with you. I'm going to get started. You're going to see title cards come up. That is your chance to hit pause, listen to the song with me. Then we'll come together. I'll tell you my thoughts. You can think about your thoughts, and we'll move through the album like that. It's like a virtual listening party. First track is Death by Rock and Roll, the title track. So I've obviously heard that song before. Haven't heard it in a while. Here's my thoughts. It's a good song to open the album with. It hits hard. It kind of gets your attention. The verses kind of have this cadence of, gives a one-liner of such and such was killed by this and that, but on my tombstone, put death by rock and roll, and does that. And then the next one is the same thing. And it's that one-liner, death by rock and roll, one-liner on my tombstone, death by rock and roll. And it just goes through each verse like that. That just repetitive, formulaic aspect of it, I'm not a huge fan of. To me, it gets old pretty quick. But the chorus is really solid. It's heavy, it's catchy. And even though there's aspects of the vocals that I'm not a fan of, you can't deny Taylor Momsen's vocals are just spectacular. So let's move on to the next one, which is Only Love Can Save Me Now. And this is actually the track that features Kim Thayil and Matt Cameron of Soundgarden. So very curious about this one. That was a good song. I enjoyed that. So right off the bat, you can hear Kim Thayil's guitar. I mean, it's just it has such a unique sound, and it just was so obvious. And then shortly thereafter, you can hear Matt Cameron coming in. And when that happened, I mean, there was just this feeling that's so reminiscent of Soundgarden. The nice thing is that the song itself as a whole doesn't sound like a Soundgarden ripoff. It really doesn't. It sounds like The Pretty Reckless with a couple of guest artists that are adding their flair. It's funny that the chorus on First Pass I did not like, but by the end of the song I found myself singing along to it. So clearly I was wrong, and my subconscious was a fan. The last thing I'll say is that Kim Thayil solo. Oh God, we need more of that in rock right now. This is a good one. Let's dive into the next one. This is the song with Tom Morello, and So It Went. Now, obviously, I've heard this song before. It was the most recent one that they released before the album came out. It's a really good song. It's really well written. It's got some fantastic dynamics and layering. Just as with the last song, the solo is just undeniably Tom Morello. I will say, though, that the impact of this guest appearance I found less exciting than the last song. It's nothing against Tom Morello. I love Rage. I love Tom. I love Audio Slave. I mean, pretty much anything he does. And it's not that it was bad. It was just the last song had such a strong sound and feel from Kim Thayil and Matt Cameron, and just the Tom Morello solo, because it's all it was really, was basically a guest solo performance. It was good. It just didn't have that same feel and didn't have that same impact. Every time I hear any song that has a chorus of children, I can't help but think of Pink Floyd. Just let Pink Floyd do that. They did that. They did it perfectly. No one's ever going to pull it off as good as they did, so it might as well just not even try. That's usually my feeling. In this case, they did that at the end, and it wasn't bad. It didn't give me like a visceral reaction, but I still think it was kind of unnecessary. And the next song is 25, which I've heard a number of times because the song is that good. So I know that at least the first four songs are going to be solid. I'm going to go listen to 25 now. And what I'll do, even though you know how I feel about it, I'm going to try to, while I'm listening to it, really pick out the specific things that make this song great. I'll do a little mini Rick Beato, but not nearly as cool or as detailed or involved with music theory as he can do. But I'll do my little mini Beato. All right, let's do it. So 25, you know my thoughts. It's an amazing song. But let me give you some thoughts as to why I think it's so good. All right, so first, the opening guitar riff just comes in. It sets the mood perfectly, quickly followed by Taylor Momsen's voice, which is just hauntingly beautiful in this song. There are some low notes that she hits that makes my hair stand up. It's just that impactful. The chorus is damn near perfect. It's full of emotion. It's got heaviness. It's got musicianship. The way it's written is just fantastic. Each chorus gets slightly heavier, and it's very subtle, so you may not know what's going on, but by the last chorus at the end of the song, it really is hitting much harder. We're 4 songs in. These are the 4 songs that I knew. I guess there's one I hadn't heard before, but the first 4 are just fantastic. I've got 8 more to go, and I haven't heard any of these, so let's see if this album holds up for the rest. The next is My Bones. My Bones. It was okay. It definitely had some good aspects. The verses I found felt a little empty up front. They did try to like add some layering as they progress. But I felt like they could have actually filled up the space up front. The chorus, really catchy. They seem to do a good job of making those hit well. But the bridge really threw me off. It sounded like another song. Once I got over the initial like shock of what was going on, that's my thought. I was like, this should have been another song. This shouldn't have been a bridge to this song. Because it's actually, the part itself was good. But yeah, should have been another song. So this one, it was okay. Let's see what number 6 has. It's called Got So High. All right, Got So High. I was not expecting that. I mean, I don't know what I was expecting, but it kind of had this deliberate feel of like an off-the-cuff acoustic performance. It's a really good song. It's very mainstream sounding. Like I could see this song being, on top 40 charts or in like a TV show. I mean, I could see my kids actually digging this song, and I have 2 teenage daughters, so they're not wanting to listen to anything I like. But anyway, it's a good song, just a little different than what I was expecting. So, all right, let's get to the next one, which is Broomsticks. And this one's only 52 seconds. So I'm kind of curious what this is, some sort of transition. But it's got an official music video, which is weird. I'm going to see what this is about. Okay, now I get it. So basically, it's a song. It's like a Halloween song. And the video is just kind of, it looks like kind of like a little video message, something they might put up on Instagram, just, little shout out to the fans, like here's something a little different. All right, next song, appropriate because that was the Halloween theme. So this next one is Witches Burn. All right, Witches Burn. It's a fun rock song. Kind of has a slightly like old school feel. Even has kind of like a classic rock sounding solo. But yeah, it's straightforward, good song. The lyrics are definitely worth paying attention to. There's some lines in there that kind of take you back. Yeah, not much more to say. It's a good song. Didn't knock my socks off, but it doesn't mean it's bad. It's still good. But let's get to the next one, which is Standing at the Wall. All right, Standing at the Wall. This song got me. Let me explain. It starts out as an acoustic, puts a little bit of some strings in there, adds to the emotion, and it's good, right? Like it's a good kind of softer song, and but it's 4 minutes long. About halfway through, I start going, all right, like this is starting to drag on. Like this probably could have been a little shorter. Like they didn't need to like drag it out to a 4. And then the build happens, right? I'm in the middle of thinking to myself, yeah, they're really pushing the limits. Nope, they put in this build that just has this real like, epic feeling on the other side of the build. Wow, just really well done. Completely changed my perspective on the song. Fantastic song. Fantastic. The only thing that I find kind of interesting is the way that it's written, and especially like just the way it closes and has this sound of like resolve. It feels like it should be a closing song. Like it feels like it'd be a good way to like end an album if you're trying to end on like a high note. But we still got 3 songs to go, right? Yeah, 3 songs to go. So I'm curious why it's not an ending song, because it's good enough that it could really close out an album strong. Let's check out the next one, which is Turning Gold. All right, Turning Gold. As a whole, it just didn't do it for me. It has this like sitar sound in the beginning and the end that I just kind of found amusing because it's a little out of place, I think. The song as a whole has a vibe of kind of like a southern rock song with like, the keyboards and just kind of the way it's written. It's got this really cool rolling bass line, which I dig. Some of the vocal harmonies are really good. The second verse, the way that they differentiate it from the first verse, I actually thought was on point. Like I was a big fan of the way they did that. The song has some good elements to it, but just as a whole, it just didn't vibe with me. So, but I could see it vibing with other people. It's cool, right? To each their own. But for me, that's okay. Let's check out the next one, Rock and Roll Heaven. That was an interesting song. It's a solid ballad. I definitely was wondering if it was like a country song at first. It kind of had that vibe. Still, I mean, I think that kind of persisted through the whole thing. But all in all, solid ballad. It did start the fade out like a minute before the end of the song. It was a really long fade out. That kind of stood out for me. When I'm listening to these songs, I'm usually doing it through YouTube. That's how I'm able to watch the videos. If there's a video associated with it, it makes it easier. But sometimes I'll scroll down and look at the comments that people write because there's sometimes some little gold nuggets in there. And I found one that I think actually sums the song up perfectly. And it said, "This is the ultimate dad rock song." And I think that's actually a great way to sum it up. All right, let's check out the last track, which is Harley Darling. There's that country vibe again. I even had a harmonica intro. I think that, for me, that track could have been left off the album. In fact, I really think the album could have just ended it standing at the wall. That song ended so perfectly, and these last 3 songs really felt like they belonged on a different album. So, if you got any thoughts about that, any disagreements, some hate to spew out, feel free to drop it in the comments. But that's how I feel. I feel like this album was a phenomenal album up until the end of track 9. I would still say check it out because at the very least, I think it's really, really worth checking out the first 9 songs. There's that one weird Halloween one, so it's like 8 songs. And even the ones that didn't knock my socks off, there's only a couple in that bunch, but there's some really, really, really good songs. Make sure you're giving me feedback on these little videos that I do, these album reviews, things like that. How do you give me feedback? Well, you drop comments, you let me know your thoughts, you like the video. Dislike the video, right? If you don't like it, let me know that way. Subscribe to the channel if you want to see more, because I put out videos every week for the most part. I don't think I've missed a week yet. Sometimes I put out multiple videos in a week. Those are always fun. You keep making beautiful music, and I will see you in the next video.